Hello and welcome back to a Kooky corner of YouTube, where today we are looking at some more mixed media art journal-y kind of books that I have on my shelf. So the first one that I have, actually the first two that I have, are by the same author, and this is Tamara Laporte, who has, I think it's called willowing.org, and they do lots and lots of courses on journaling and all different kinds of art and things like that. And I love her work so much. And this was the first book I got, which was the Life book. And I think there are courses that you can do to go through this. So she does this as a course, I believe. So this is learning about yourself through creativity, and sort of it's kind of very therapeutic to work through this book in general, as I have done, and I loved working through it. So you have a bit on art supplies, markers and pens. I'm not going to go through everything because I think it's really important that you support the people who make these books. But just to give you a quick flip through of them. So you have Project 1, the Zen Butterfly, letting go of what no longer serves you. And I think that's really cool. And I have a book that I did all these in somewhere. I'll have to dig out at some point. Envision Your World, so dream boarding. I'm a very big advocate of that. I think that works really well. Layers of Your Heart. And there are just so many beautiful, beautiful pictures. You know that I'm going to love these guys, don't you? Your Inner Quirky Bird. My quirky bird is most definitely an owl. Seeds of Love. Lots of different projects to work through with lots and lots of pictures to show you exactly what you need to be doing. And it includes other artists as well. So, for example, this one was a contributing artist, Ivy Newport. So there's quite a few other artists working here as well. And I think it's part of the course. But it's just lovely. It's a beautiful book to sit down and look through and just to get inspiration from. And following on from that, this one is by the same author. It's called The Ever After. Create fairy tale inspired mixed media art projects to develop your personal artistic style. And in a similar vein, it is going through different ways of recreating or creating in your own way fairy tale characters. And we have guest teachers in here. Guest teacher Mickey Wild. I think I've done a class of Mickey's at some point as well. So those are both books that go together really well. So we've got Create Your Life book and Ever After. This next one is a creative paint workshop for mixed media artists by Anne Baldwin. Experimental techniques for composition, layering, texture, imagery, and encaustic. All of these can also be used in a journal form, as well as your own artwork. So we've got bits on hand printing, how to make your own hand stamps. So literally cardboard stamps will work just as well as any of the ones that you can buy and are much, much cheaper. Stenciling, handwriting, disguising the edges, brainstorming, layering paint and found images. I love that technique actually. And this one, creating a textured abstract painting. And I want to have a go at doing some of this on the channel. If you are interested, drop me a little message down below. Creating texture with mediums, experiments in texture. Some of these pages are kind of stuck together, and I believe it's because I was working at the time. Maybe splash them with a bit of water or paint. But yeah, how to compose. Composition is something that I struggled with at the beginning, but I think the more I looked at it and the more I figured out how people use composition, that kind of a cross composition I like a lot, and I tend to use that quite a bit in my work. So yeah, that's recommended. Creative Paint Workshop for Mixed Media Artists by Anne Baldwin. Next up is 2 books by, again, the same author. This is Mary Todd Beam. This is Celebrate Your Creative Self with more than 25 exercises to unleash the artist within. Oh, I'm knocking the camera now. And this is a beautiful book. I love Mary Todd Beam's work. So, so lovely. And that's her there. So we've got Encountering the White, which is the big white paper. What do you do with it? Creating your personal surface, creating your personal palette. That's a really good thing to do. Picking out the colours that resonate with you. Streamlining your design, discovering your connection to nature and discovering your connection to the man-made. Celebrating the power of play, creating your personal symbols, keeping a symbol diary, very interesting, and walking the creative path. So then we've got lots and lots of exercises within here for you to then work through to create your own style, really. And I say style in the loosest of ways, because I don't think we ever have a full style. I think sometimes you can look at something and recognize that's somebody's artwork. But also, if you look at things like Picasso, his drawings are completely different from his paintings, from any other thing. So there are many different things. I myself like to work in lots of different styles. I think there's always something, maybe the colour choices or something, where you could say that was done by an artist or something. And certainly some people have very specific styles. But I think style is something that you can play around with. And I think if you try and pigeonhole yourself into a style, then it can be kind of constraining on you. You have to do it this way because this is my style. Whereas if you just think, I'm just going to play and see what happens, I think that's probably a better way to go about it. One of the people that I followed suggested that you just gather all the people that you love, all the artists that you love, pick out things that you like of theirs, and then try and not mimic what they've done, but try and incorporate the ideas. So maybe you like the colours that someone uses, maybe you like the line work that someone does. And I think that's a good way of gathering together some ideas for you to make a start. Because making a start is the first step, but it's probably the most important step, isn't it? Anyway, this book, Celebrate Your Creative Self by Mary Todd Beam. And then we've got The Creative Edge. So it's more exercise work to do. Lots of different techniques again. The Interference Float. That looks interesting. And using repeating circles. I find circles crop up so much in my work. So very much. And this looks at composition as well. So some really, really beautiful pictures. Collage work. Again, something I love. What don't you love, so you say? I know, I'm very, very eclectic in my creative mind. Yeah. Again, beautiful books, both of them very good. Mary Todd Beam, The Creative Edge, and Celebrate Your Creative Self. Paint Mojo, a mixed media workshop by Tracy Verdugo. I have done a course with Tracy, and her teaching style is a wonderful, lovely lady to learn from. And she also sometimes occasionally gives away free taster courses, which is interesting to try, see if you get on with the artist. Because sometimes you could pay for something and maybe not enjoy how the artist teaches. I love how Tracy teaches, and this book is great. Also, it's kind of going through what she'd do in a workshop, but in a book form. So mark making, very important. I love this piece with the elephant in it, so lovely. Chart of symbols. It's really interesting to write down what you find as a symbol works for you, and things that you find reoccurring if you're doodling without even thinking about it. Some things reoccur. Nice idea just to keep a list of all the things that you find that keep cropping up in your artwork. But mark making, very important, spaces between. Lovely quotes as well. Your own personal narrative. So it's like you have to go through this, and she does go through like an exercise of different parts of these. So there are exercises within here for each chapter. Exercise for colouring your senses. Love that. Why do I love that? Because it looks like patchwork. Birds. You can see why I picked this up, can't you? It's just an awesome book. So that's Paint Mojo, a mixed media workshop by Tracy Bautista. This one is a Mixed Media Girls with Susie Blue, and it's drawing, painting, and fanciful adornments from start to finish. This one has a little DVD in it as well, which I have obviously watched. This is very beautiful and vibrant, and goes through all of Susie's ideas about how to get started. You don't need all of these things to get started, but this is a beautiful page to look at and get inspiration from. So layering, using stencils, and then she takes you through her process, all the different materials that she uses to get all of these pieces down, measuring how the face goes. That we were always taught as well that in between the eyes you should have an eye's width. But if you're doing fanciful paintings, then a lot of that can go out of the window, so you can change it around. It's just how to place the nose, basic nose shapes. Really interesting stuff for somebody if you're starting out from the very beginning and you want some just basic instruction on how to place things. I love these as well. These how to draw a folk art doll body. Great. Really lovely read through. The palette. The right accessories. So Marie Antoinette associated with pastel, so working with the characters for this one, for the Marie Antoinette picture, it's kind of pastel-y, but I would say a darker pastels. Love it. And yeah, lots and lots and lots of pictures, ideas, inspiration galore, and the student gallery of all the people that she's taught and their own work. Beautiful book, Mixed Media Girls by Susie Blue. Two books again by the same author. This is Tracy Bautista, Collage Unleashed and Doodles Unleashed. This is paint, bind, stitch and play, all the things that I love. So that's Tracy and her little dog. You can see there. So painting paper and fabric, printing, stamping using transparencies, lettering and doodling, collage styles, stitching, bindings and funky embellishment, and projects combining all the techniques. So she takes you through all the different techniques that you can use, crayon techniques there, drizzle paint. Again, I see quilt and stitching there. Stenciling, plates, texture, lettering and doodling, mark making tools, combining collage styles, fusion dyed collage, textured paper collage, stitching and funky embellishments, funky binding, and the graffiti wall, and a play art journal, which looks very fun indeed to put together. And I think I am going to be doing something like that as well at some point. And then you've got some sample pages at the back, so you've got some goodies that you can use in your artwork, which is really nice of her. Then the second one, Doodles Unleashed, which is techniques for doodling, mark making and lettering. So this is going more into the doodling on top of your artwork, making marks and lettering for those all important quotes that we like to put in our work. Finger painted backgrounds. Great. Just have to be careful of what you put on your fingers. Or maybe you wear a little rubber glove if you're not sure, because some of the pigments and things are or can be toxic. Collage canvases. This is beauteous. I love this. I love all the colours in that as well. They're right up my alleyway. Stylized faces. Such a great book and such inspiration in both of those. So that's Tracy Bautista, Collage Unleashed and Doodles Unleashed. And I do believe there's another one as well, but I don't know the name of that one. I'll check it out. This one is one of about 3 that I could find on my bookshelves. The other 2 seem to be in a different place, so I'll have to find those out another time. But this one is a mixed media masterclass with Cheryl Khan. Cheryl Khan was somebody who inspired me greatly, sort of many years ago, about 10, 12 years ago, and I was super into her work. And I love how she puts things together. So using this book, Materials and Supplies, it's to do with creating surfaces on fabric and paper. So these are useful for both your fabric work and your paper collages, art journals, whatever you want to make. Making fabric cord. This is a really interesting. Tear a piece of painted or commercial fabric, cut the fabric to the desired length, squeeze a line of white glue down the middle and twist the fabric into a cord by hand. Brilliant. Just brilliant. So lots and lots of techniques. In fact, 50 plus techniques. And a lovely book to have with lots and lots of ideas for you to play around with different things. And all of these things help to develop. The more you play, the more you develop. And I always say that to anybody who asks me about having a go at working with different things. And I just find it super interesting to look at what other people do. So this one, Inktense monoprints. So drawing a set of designs on using Inktense pencils on a monoprint plate, spray the design and then place your fabric on top. And I think that's something we might have a go at some point. See if that works. In fact, if you want me to go through any of the exercises in any of these books, we'll have a go, shall we? Mixed Media Max Masterclass with Cheryl Khan. This is Creative Illustration Workshop for Mixed Media Artists with Catherine Dunn. Seeing, sketching, storytelling and using found materials. And illustration of storytelling, draw what you love, sharing emotions through personal stories, incorporating textures and found materials. When things aren't working, that's always an interesting thing to look at, isn't it? So when things are not quite going right, then having a look, see what we can do to change them, and not accepting that you've made a mistake or failed in any way, just changing, incorporating. I like that. So her art style I love, absolutely, which is why I picked up this book. So some of these are really dreamy. The colours are, so vibrant. Look at this cat. It kind of, it calls to you, doesn't it? And using like that cross that I told you before, the composition of the cross, that kind of works really well in artwork. And also, she goes through how she comes to do the pictures in here. So draw what you love. That is always a good adage. If you love animals, draw animals. If you love figures, draw people. Draw what you love and you can't go far wrong, because you're wanting to put down what you can see in your head will power you on. I love this. Find a sock. Now bring it to life and share the stories it holds within. How do you fancy having a go at that one? We could put our slow stitching to much use in that one, couldn't we? I love it. Puppet making, something I've also done a lot of in my time. Layering exercise. I love this book so much, and I'm so glad I grabbed it out off the shelf because I've not looked at it in a while, and it's just inspired me again, having had another look at it. So that's Creative Illustration Workshop, The Mixed Media Artist by Catherine Dunn. Well, that's a whole load of other inspiring books for you to maybe source or have a look at. I don't know how many of them are still available. I will make a list, and as I usually do, so that you can have a look and see if you can find them anywhere else. Maybe libraries, a good way to check out, see if your local library has any of these in stock. One more book, and this is an explanatory book. The Wombles. Now, I've had so many people asking me, yeah, well, what's a womble? Well, I believe it must be like a British UK thing. I'm sure other people may have heard of the Wombles as well. The Wombles were a creation of Elizabeth Beresford, and they were characters who lived on Wimbledon Common. So the Womble map of Wimbledon Common. This is the location of the Wombles borough is secret and therefore not shown. Very wise. And this is an old children's book I had. It's also got a CD with some of the stories read by the beautiful and wonderful and close to my heart Bernard Cribbins, who actually love. But yes, this is Stories of the Wombles. If I was a Womble as well, I would be Orinoco. And let's have a look. Where's Orinoco? Where is Orinoco? There he is. That's that guy there. I would be Orinoco out of the whole of them. That's Madame Chalet. She does a lot of cooking. Great Uncle Bulgaria. Tomsky's always building things. And there's Bungo. Yeah. So those are the Wombles for anybody who's interested in what a Womble is. This is a Womble, and I identify as a Magpie Womble. So there. Have a great day. See you very soon with something else. Bye for now.